in the early days, it was split. A lot of their lectures were down at George Street. We shared a drafting room with one of the engineering classes, and every now and again they'd double book it, and that caused a few problems, as you can imagine. But we also had some lectures at St Lucia. Totally compared with these days. In those days, I used to drive Dad into the office. I'd take the car down, park it in George Street in the what was the QUT, and then pick Dad up again and take him home at night. Saved him parking anywhere. And then when we were at the uni, I used to be able to drive the group of us out to the St Lucia, parked on the front road in front of the main building. Just to go and park there. And look at it now. But we had some of the they set up in the tower out there finally. But we attended lectures in, I can remember one we I think it was probably physics. We had to start lectures at 7 o'clock. This is down George Street. Start lectures at 7 o'clock in the morning. Go to 8. And then no air conditioning, hardly any ventilation at all. We have to wait for it, leave it for an hour to let it cool down, and then go back and start again at have another hour at 9 o'clock. Imagine that these days. But one of the most interesting outside lecturers we had was Freddie Whitehouse. I've got a lot of that in here. Now he was a geologist, and he lectured us in geomorphology. Now, he was the most fascinating and entertaining lecturer we had, despite the fact he wasn't an architect. We appointed him as a consultant for the stonework on the cathedral later. The stories he told, and there was one in particular I always remember. He helped the police in a murder inquiry, and he was able to identify a particular grass seed and the mud that it would have grown in, and he knew where that mud, a restricted area, he knew where that was. That mud and the grass seed were in the tread of the tyres of a car they suspected had been used, and the recording on the speedometer matched exactly where they between the other, and that led to the murder charge being successful. Yeah, it was quite unreal.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, no. But he took us up to Helidon, and he showed us some of the old quarry where they had actually cut the stone for the cathedral, and they cut it with like a very narrow hoe and on a long handle, and you could see where the hoe had been shrunk, the arc where it had cut, and they chiseled that out and out till they got down to a bedrock, and then they'd wedge it and roll it down. But to have someone who just could take us to the spot.
Do you remember any of the design courses? What were you designing in first year and throughout?
Well, last year one of the major design problem was a new Parliament House for Queensland. It was interesting because it was able to focus on one chamber, because they only had the one house. They didn't have an upper house, so it was all. I enjoyed that one.
How long was the course in those days? When did you start?
60. We had 3 years full time at the uni, and then 3 years working in an office and studying at night. Now that was not easy, because you could do a bit of fancy stuff in there during the day and the college stuff, trying to get away with stuff where you could. But you knew during the day when you were working, you knew that design was going to be built. Anything you put on drawing was going to be built, so it had to be right.
So you worked in your father's office?
No, Dad didn't want to know me as a student. He said, you go and do what they want you to do, get yourself qualified, then come to the office and we'll teach you what architecture's really about. Now that sounds a bit rude, but it was very, look, when I went to Coleman Fulton, or it was Joe Coleman Fulton, I think, in those days, and Harold Cook of Cook and Kerrison, probably Jim Collin, I think, or Charlie Fulton, I forget which, and Dad got together and agreed, 25 shilling, no, I think it was £5 a week would be a good salary to pay them. So that's the three of us that probably got. Anne went to Conrad and Gargett, and Margaret went to Cook and Kerrison.